Hey everybody, it's Alex at Motoroso.com, and in this video we're taking a close-up look at the VR Tuned Piggyback Tuner for the third generation Toyota Tundra, and it's going to produce a 60 horsepower gain and 70 pound-feet torque gain at the wheels. That is a tremendous gain for such a simple and relatively inexpensive modification to your truck. Now, we have had great luck with the VR Tuned Piggyback Tuners. We've installed them on 2.7 and 2.3 liter Broncos, as well as the 3.5 liter F-150 Raptor, and we've taken those vehicles to the dyno and proven the gains that they've claimed. In some cases, we had higher ambient temperatures, and we are in California, and we have kind of crummy gas compared to other states. So in the case of the F-150 Raptor, we fell a little bit shy of the power claim numbers, but on the other end of the spectrum, my 2.7 liter Bronco actually outperformed the numbers that they claimed it will gain on the power and the torque, which was phenomenal. So we have a high level of trust in those claimed numbers, and they do provide the dyno sheets for their own testing to demonstrate those actual gains. And again, even if you only got half of the number they're claiming, it's a tremendous bump in power and torque for such an inexpensive and relatively easy to install mod. Now let me talk about why and how this works, or why they're doing a piggyback rather than ECU tuning. So traditionally, tuning the ECU with a flash and reprogram the ECU is the best way to get power out of a fuel-injected engine. But manufacturers over the last 5 to 10 years have been making it much, much harder to actually get in and hack into that ECU, reflash it and reprogram it, and it for sure voids your warranty immediately. And they're making it harder and harder to get into those ECUs, and many brands are even making it basically impossible. You can't do it. And Toyota has been historically one of the hardest manufacturers to get into the ECU for quite some time. And so the piggyback tuners are very popular now because they're very easy to use. They sit on top of the computer. And I don't mean physically on top. I mean sort of metaphorically on top. They plug into the system and they just inject a signal to kind of trick the engine to doing something a little differently than it's normally going to do. It plugs in the map and the T-map sensors to inject its signal to trick the engine to produce more boost pressure, thereby producing more power and torque. And then once it's all connected, you get power to the unit, you connect it to your Bluetooth phone, whether it's Android or iOS, and then it's going to allow you to choose between levels 1 and 7. Of course, you got an off mode as well, but between levels 1 and 7, and how much additional power and torque you want to make. And it is very noticeable. And on the high end of that spectrum, that level 7 with 93 octane fuel, they're claiming again 60 horsepower and 75 pound-feet of torque at the wheels. That is a huge bump, and you will absolutely, most definitely feel it. Now, I like to pair this with a pedal commander. I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I like the pedal commander in addition to this because this is going to help you actually make more power and torque, but the pedal commander is going to allow you to change the sensitivity of your pedal and really change the way that the vehicle feels. And I like this for when I want it to be more responsive. I'll make that pedal more sensitive so that I have instant access to that power and torque and it really feels sporty. But I also like it on the other end of the spectrum so I can put it in the eco mode and slows that pedal down. I can leave this at full power so I have the power, but I can slow that pedal down when I'm in off-roading situations and it's slippery and I want to control the vehicle more easily. That eco mode is great. When I'm on long trips, it also helps me to save fuel. So I digress a little bit. I'm going to put a link to the pedal commander in the description of this video. For this, I'm going to put a link to this right here. That links over to our website where you can then go to Motoroso.com and you can shop with us. And if you find this video helpful at all, please do consider shopping with us. That is what supports what we do here. You can also reach us there on live chat or call us toll free at 833-MOTOROSO. We'd love to earn your business and have you as a customer with your Tundra. Now, we are also going to be pairing this with an AFE Momentum GT intake, as well as the AWE 0FG CatBack exhaust system. So we know we're going to get at least the power that they're claiming out of this thing, and possibly a little bit more with those additional mods. They're going to help flow more fresh air into the engine and exhaust gases out of the engine. The whole thing's going to sound better when we're done as well. I'll put links to both of those videos and both of those products in the description of this video. But coming back to this VR Tuned, I'm going to show you how to install this thing. It is a little trickier to get to that connector on the iForceMax. You really do have to reach back there, but we're going to do our best to show you exactly where that is and a tip or a trick or two for how to reach it. And hopefully you'll find that really, really helpful. All right, let's dive into that install. Before starting this install, you're going to want to make sure that everything cools down quite a bit. It can be pretty hot back here. So you'll open your hood to let everything cool down. And you want to also lock your truck with the hood open and the door open, and take your keys about 20 to 30 feet away from the truck to allow the truck to go into its resting mode before you start undoing any of the connectors. So first, remove the engine cover by pulling up and out. Now clean the surface of the fuse box with rubbing alcohol, and then you can place strips of Velcro here and on the box to secure it here. You can also use their supplied zip ties, but we prefer Velcro. The connector at the back of the engine bay is the toughest on this application, so to make this easier, you're going to want to remove the 10mm bolt holding this orange bundle in place. The head is on the back side, so it is a real pain in the butt, but a ratcheting box wrench will make that easier. You can now push that orange cable bundling back to access this connector that is at the back facing the firewall. You're going to press down on the releasing tab and then pull outwards to remove, and then pull that forward. On the VR Tuned harness, there are two connectors labeled A and B. B connector is what we're plugging in here. Now simply connect the male and female ends in line, and be sure you get a nice positive click from the connectors and pull on them to make sure they don't separate. Now you can replace the 10mm bolt holding that cable, or simply throw a zip tie through it. That'll be fine too. Now you can run that harness over to the control box, making sure to keep it away from anything hot, sharp, or rotating, and zip tie it in place to keep it secure. The other connector, connector A, can now be run over to the front of the engine bay to be connected into this connector here. This one's a real piece of cake. Once they're both connected, you can connect the main harness by pulling out the purple lock and pressing it in place. Once connected, turn on the ignition of the truck by pressing the on button twice, but don't start the truck. You're going to need to download the VR Tuned app and make note of your serial number either on the back of your VR Tuned unit or underneath the main harness connector. You'll need to enter that serial number to mate the devices. This sometimes takes a few attempts, but once it's connected, you can now select the tune configuration and set the different levels that you would like for each of your 3 modes. Race, we'll see that go to 7. Go ahead and click Eco. That's going to go to 1. And now I'll change to 7. And that stays in race. Boom. Now you're off to the races. Enjoy your new tuner. All right, as I mentioned, I'm going to put a link to this VR Tune so you can get 60 more horsepower and 75 pound-feet of torque on your Tundra. I'll put a link to that right here, and that'll take you over to Motoroso.com where you can shop with us, and we hope you will. We'd love to have you as a customer, and shopping with us is what supports what we do here on these videos. They are not easy to make. We really enjoy making them for you, but that is what supports what we do. Additionally, make sure you check out that AFE intake and the AWE exhaust videos. I'll put links to both of those in the description, and I'll put the link to the AWE product spotlight so you can hear what that exhaust sounds like right here. We hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.